Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah, Ba Hashem Rakak Wadash. This your Akiman Drillazil, back with another quick lesson. And this is a lesson on a personal note. You know, I was in a situation where I was unable to do lessons, and the reason why is because of these wicked people in society, namely, this one particular situation, what I'm talking about in general, is these wicked females, man. Not all women are wicked. We got wicked ass men too. The society is ran by the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, self-proclaimed white man. But in my situation, I'm talking about, I was dealing, well, we that are in the truth and the faith, we know dealing with, whores, are not against the, it's not unlawful. I'm gonna put it like that. It's not unlawful to deal with a whore. You know what I'm saying? But it is unlawful to commit acts of adultery. But I was with this, doing what men do. You have the the feel of the manly feel, So you want to lay down with a woman. And since I'm in a situation, the Lord put me in a position where I'm single, who else will suit better than, you going out and seeing a whore. But nonetheless, this whore, the spirit came upon her when she saw something on me that she didn't like. And it went downhill. And then it put me in a situation where I was, pretty much incarcerated for about a week. I'm going to say like this. Not quite a week, but I'm going to say roughly 6 days, But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, the reason why I was able to get out in the time that I did and didn't get caught up only by the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, because, I have a brother, his name is similar to mine, close to mine. He was pulled over, his car's registered to him, but he was pulled over. And they will say they're looking for somebody. So the last name matches, but the first name doesn't, and the SSN number. So when my aunt got back, he let me know. He said, "Man, this happened to me. I got pulled, man. And I was like, through the spirit, I was like, yeah, it had to be her, because she threatened me, pretty much through these voice and text messages that's what she was going to do." So, I happened to call, and it was like, yeah, you got some warrants out for your arrest. So I said, I'm gonna do the correct and the best thing in this situation is to turn you in, rather than these jokers come out here and trying to arrest me or catch me or something like that. So I said, man, I'm gonna turn myself in, but before I do that, I'm gonna try to do it the wisest way possible. So I seek legal counsel. So I paid for an attorney before I had turned myself in. And the Lord allowed me to see that through, the acts of these wicked people, through my aunt, and my aunt letting me know, and I was able to make the wisest decision by turning myself in, and that's what I did, because this female, she was a common whore, come to find out, but that's neither here and there. That was found out, through other people that's what she does. And she lied and said I did things that I didn't do, because she was upset at the mere fact that I was wearing something on my person. I'm not going to get into too much of a detail, wearing something on my person that she didn't like, you know, when when I encountered her, when I saw her, and she just got infuriated and got mad, and things just went ugly, you know. So, during these times, we know we got to walk circumspectly, but that's how it is. Like I said, when I met this individual, I'm gonna just put it like this. When I met this individual, she wasn't like that. She was like, your typical female XYZ. That's how a lot of these women are anyway. That's why they on social media anyway. They out here being prostitutes anyway, man. They I ain't gonna say all women are like that, but there's a lot of them, so they live that lifestyle of being a harlot, and it's common nowadays, they pay to play XYZ, and people want to act as though it doesn't happen, like it's a secret, and it's well known that that's what they do to your regular 9 to 5, to your college student, to your typical project whore, and everything in far and wide in between, man. Even these so-called housewives, but that's an acts of adultery. But nonetheless, they commit acts of whoreism. You know what I mean? These guys do too. They commit acts of whoreism. They sleep with other men's wives. So this is the adulterous generation, and that's what it is. It's as if, because this society is ran by Esau Edom, which is what, full of sin, and all we can do is try to navigate through this system, this society, the best way we can. And I know, I should make more wiser decisions, because, like I said, this is not the first time I was in a situation where some whore lied on me, man. The Lord delivered me out of that situation, and I'm just praying and hoping Yahweh Shai do the same thing in this situation. He delivered me, because he delivered me out of the situation while I was incarcerated, but did the whole totality of the situation. He pretty much do the same thing like he did the last, but that's all it was. This harlot, man, she lied and said I did something that I didn't do. I'm not gonna go into details, but yeah, that's pretty much in the situation that I'm currently in. But I'm gonna just go into the book of Proverbs 22:14, and it reads, it says, the mouth of strange women is a deep pit. And that's why I was there. I was thrown. Let's go into that word pit.
Strong's H 7745. Shucha. Shucha.
It said ditch pit. Well, so like it. I was trying to go into. Let's see if I can do it this way, Salakia. Salakia, bear with me. Let's see this. Search the web. Salakia. The word pit has several distinct meanings, depends on the context in which it is used. And so it has distinct meanings. This says a hole in the ground. Let's go. That may be the best. Let's say I guess this is the best. It says a hole in the ground. The most common definition is a large hole, shaft, or cavity dug into the ground. It can also refer to a natural depression or trench. You know, he accidentally stepped into a muddy pit. English refers to a large, hard stone or seed. It says right here, the seed of a fruit. Well, that's just the fruit. It says, other context, conflict. But basically, it can also, you know, in my situation, means what? Cause that's what Daniel, the prophet Daniel was what? Thrown into the lion's pit or the lion's den, you know, where, you know, you're in an environment where you can't escape, surrounded by danger, man. And pretty much that's what these institutions are, man. Especially nowadays, you're in a situation or you're in an environment where you can't escape and you're surrounded by danger, man. And the Wada Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, he delivered me out of that pit, man. You know, because that's what was going on. Because you have, you know, people with that mentality that they don't care about your situation. You know, all they do is they try to compare their situation to you. They know that they're going to be in there for a long period of time. And a lot of people in their minds are not right anyway. You in there, these people acknowledge that they need help, but they refer, rather than putting them in the institution that they need, like a lot of them, when I was in there admitting, they said, man, my mental health is not right. I need to be out of here. And due to the conditions that they put you in, like I was in there, it was overcrowded, man. You know what I'm saying? You had, on average, 20 guys sharing one toilet, man. And that's not the capacity of the people that was in that that holding unit that I was in. I think the capacity was probably more, at least double. At least 20 people, at least 20. No, matter of fact, I think it was like 60. At least 20 people was sharing one toilet, man. The showers was disgusting. The floors were disgusting. The smell of filth and other bodily fluids was throughout that facility and in the holding the unit that I was held in, man. You know, pretty much it was miserable, man. You know, and like I said, you had other individuals that was in there that was saying, man, multiple ones acknowledging, man, my mental health is not right, man. I'm a snap out. Like they was gonna, you know, go over the edge, you know. And it was by design. And a lot of these people that are in these situations, are in places like that, they need to be in psychiatric facilities, man. A lot of them are junkies, you know. But nonetheless, man, the Wada Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, he delivered me out of that place, man. But that's what she was. Her mouth, she said things that did what? That thrown me into a pit, man. You know what I'm saying? And the Wada Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, I was able to analyze the situation and go about it the best way possible. That's why I was able to get out, man, because she said I did certain things that I think a lot of people may not have able to get, a lot of people may not been able to get out of, man. They'd be sitting in there, man, you know. But nonetheless, her story doesn't match up. That's another reason, and my reputation, you know, that, you know, I go to work, you know, I had witnesses that can vouch, family that can vouch that, you know, I'm not this person, I'm not the person this harlot is trying to portray me to be, you know. And it was only through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai I was able to be delivered out of this situation. Proverbs 22:14 again, it says, the mouth of strange women is a deep pit. He that is abhorred of the Lord shall fall therein. You know, let's read the Amplified Version. It says, the mouth of an immoral woman is a deep pit, deep and inescapable, man. He who is cursed by the Lord because of his adulterous sin, will fall into it. And what a coincidence! She also lied and say she's going to say that we was in some type of like relationship, and she said that I was the one that was angry and went and pretty much tried to attack her, saying that what did she say, Salakia? What did she say about my wife? So and then she's claiming that I have a wife, which I don't. If I had a wife, 9 times out of 10, I won't be seeking. You know, what I mean, you never know. But I'm just putting it in the, but nonetheless, because my wife will pretty much, and I know this lifestyle, my wife will pretty much fulfill the needs, all the needs that I need. I mean, all the wants that I need, you know. But like I said, I'm currently single. And if I had a wife, more than likely, I won't be seeking no harlot. You know what I'm saying? You never know, you know, the world. I ain't gonna say I will go off and I'm gonna say be with someone and seek a harlot. I mean, say I have a wife and seek a harlot, which is not actually unlawful. That could occur, you know. But I definitely would not, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, I would not seek another man's wife, which is committing the acts of an adultery, man. You know what I'm saying? So I believe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, because and another thing she's trying to say, let me go back. She's going to try to, where she lied and said that I mentioned that I had a wife, and what did she say about her? And then she's going to state that she has a husband. So I'm like, what we do? What? So pretty much, if you read between the lines, what were we doing? Having an affair? You know what I'm saying? So she's trying to say that I had a wife, she had a husband, but me and her, this harlot, had some relationship together. I said, so what we was doing? Committing acts of affair? I mean, she just lying and making a delusional story, man. You know what I'm saying? And the water, like I said, I can't say it more, can't say it enough, but the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man, I was able to
Battery charged.
the water Yahweh Salakia, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, I was able to be delivered out of that situation, man. You know, that's why I went to this the Amplified version. It says the mouth of an immoral woman is a deep pit, deep and inescapable. He who is cursed by the Lord because of his adulterous sin will fall into it. And I believe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, because, you know, she's trying to portray that's what we were committing the acts of adultery. That's what that is. If she's saying that she had a husband and she's trying to insinuate I had a wife, but me and this harlot, we had a relationship, that's committing acts of adultery, man. That's worthy of death, man. Death. And I'm gonna say like this: say for instance, if she did have one, I had no clue, no idea that she did, cause like I said, she's a harlot. You know, you can never know exactly what these people are doing, man. You know, if they are actually engaged in a relationship, if you know they are married truly, you know. Nonetheless, we know the real definition of marriage. But yeah, man, I didn't know that. She's not walking around with wedding rings. She didn't introduce herself. I didn't pursue a married woman and knew that she was married and then tried to lay with her. That was never my intention, you know. But nonetheless, man, that's what I believe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. He delivered me out of that situation because this harlot is lied. She's a liar. You know what I'm saying? She lied about the whole situation and just making up this fabrication to try to put me in a situation, man, that I don't want to be in just because I had something on my person, to say the least, on my body. I was wearing something that she didn't like, you know. Instead of trying to be polite about it and question, she got infuriated and mad and upset and became hostile, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I should expect that. It was unexpected, but you should expect that from these people that do indulge in these certain lifestyle, man. Because on this side it's considered, unlawful to do those acts. But we know through the precept, a man seeking a harlot, is not unlawful, man. But in this society it is, but we don't condone hoardism within our nation, but the other nations, hey, it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Proverbs 22:14, it says, the mouth of an immoral woman is a deep pit, deep and inescapable. He who is cursed by the Lord because of his adulterous sin will fall into it, man. And like I said, that's why I believe that I was delivered. But now I still got to go through this ordeal of this whole this whole situation being resolved and dissolved, man. And I'm gonna just pray through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, the Lord, continue to guide me and walk me through this event, man, because I don't want to be in that situation. Like I said, I was in a situation like this similar not too long ago. And then I'm like, man, I need to try my best to make more wiser decisions. But I'm like, man, you will feel all this society is, that's what it said, these people are waxing worse and worse. It's like, whatever you do is like, it's no escaping. It ain't like I did something that made her fly off. She just saw something that I had on physically and she got upset, So I'm like, it's demons, man. But nonetheless, man, this whole society is filled with treacherous, wicked, liars, manipulators, man. They all in disguise, man. Don't care. You can be your typical low life on the street to these jokers that's in certain positions, that have quote unquote respectability qualities, man. These people are treacherous, liars, deceitful people. So like I said, you can't judge, like they say, a book by its cover. Don't matter what that person may have or what position that person may be in. They may be a politician. They be your average Joe hanging out at the liquor store. You can't judge a book by its cover. Cause we know a lot of these people are not right, man. So we don't care about your position. A lot of these people are not right, man. They're wicked, actually. I'm gonna go to another precept and then I'm gonna probably close it out. So let's go to the book of Proverbs 23 and a point. It's at 27. It says, for a whore is a deep ditch and a strange woman is a narrow pit. Let's go to 27, the Amplified version, Proverbs 23 and 27. It says, for a prostitute is a deep pit and an immoral woman is a narrow well, man. Yeah, so you got to watch it, man. These harlots, man, they got a lot of shit with them, man. And you got to tread lightly when you dealing with them because they know the system and they know, say for instance, they can say anything and 9 times out of 10, these Edomites or whoever it may be in these positions of so-called authority, they're going to believe them, man. They can go out and just fabricate a whole situation and, they'll run down there, fabricate a situation, and they're going to believe them, man. Because like I said, the things that she said that I done, somebody actually done those things to me. But you know what? In my situation, you know what they told me? And that person was there. When she went and filed these so-called alleged charges, I wasn't present. I wasn't around at the time when she talked to them about it. But when this was done to me, I called the police. this person was there and actually done this to me, you know what they said? They said, sir, well, it's your word against his. We can't do nothing. The best we can do is tell you to file a restraining order. But yet she can go down there and say that I did the same thing in a situation that I hope you understand it when I'm explaining. I'm trying to explain it without giving details of it. You know, there was a situation occurred between me and an individual. This individual done something to me. They was there. I called the police. When the police arrived, they were still there. I said, hey man, this person did this XYZ. They went and questioned him. He said he didn't do it. And you know what they said? Well, sir, is your word against his. The best thing we could do is say file a restraining order. Now, same situation, but it was me and a harlot. This harlot said that I done something. I wasn't there, but yet they have warrants out for my arrest because of what she allegedly said that I done. So that's why I said they know because of their gender, they can, this society will be more in favor to them, you know what I mean? So they can fabricate a lie and they feel as though they can get away with it, man. You know, so you got to tread lightly with these, especially these harlots, man, these women in general, but you got to tread lightly, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to read that again. Proverbs 23:27. It says, for a prostitute is a deep ditch and an immoral woman is a narrow well, man. So yeah, man, they got traps waiting for you, man. So if things don't go as they plan or as they wanted to go, you know, they can easily say something and now you in a situation where you don't want to be. And that's where I was at. That's why I wasn't able to do lessons. That's why I wasn't able to be with the Ak and do, you know, the you know, we got to go back going back on the highways and byways. There was reasons why we were doing sit down lessons more than anything, but going out on the highways and byways and doing lessons. But nonetheless, we were still doing the lessons at, you know, at the end of the week, you know. But I'm gonna end this lesson off there, man. Hope this was edifying, but this was a living testimony, man, that, you know, I know we living in these times and I gotta be more wiser at what I do. And that's what I say. That's what it was. It's the flesh, man. The flesh wants you to do certain things. That's why we're stuck in these bodies, man. You know, and you want the desires of the flesh, and I got to restrain myself from certain desires, man. You know, and not to say you got to cut them off completely cold turkey. That means, you know, the desires nonetheless that are lawful, you know, but we all sin, you know, because we're in this sinful flesh. But I got to try to restrain myself and try to be more wiser at what I do, you know, because, you know, I don't want to be in a situation like this again, man, you know, cause these harlots in general, but this society is wicked. And I'm going to end it off there, man. Hope the body was edifying. Till next time, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Again, this your Akim and Drill Azil, Lord willing. I'll be back with another lesson. Till next time, Shalom, Barakathon, and a Baba Ball. Shalom.